Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Bill Palanuk, and my guest today is Thomas Miller. Wait, I think we swapped scripts. I have your script and you have mine.
He sounds good, doesn't he? I think you've got a career in this in front of you, my friend.
Hey, Thomas, good to see you, my friend.
We spoke, what was it? Not even 60 days ago. And look at where you are. Let's bring everybody up to quick speed. Tell them what happened and where you are now.
Well, I had a stroke on the 4th of February, and it affected my speech. You'll still hear some delays in my speech, as you know. I'm not 100% healed, but boy, I'm in the 90s somewhere. Back on the air after the stroke in February. I was off for probably 2 months. Yeah, I went back on the air on the 7th of April. And man, it's just it's been wonderful. Feeling good. They released me, discharged me from speech therapy a couple of weeks ago. There's nothing more that can be done there, and I'm continuing to unlock areas of my brain that I haven't unlocked yet. Typing is still an issue. A lot of red dots under the words that you type. You know, the spell check. Oh man, that's I'm struggling with that, but that's getting a little bit better as well. And a few observances. What I do to voice track a radio station. We'll get into that here in just a bit, but yeah, I'm recovering. Still a little ways to go, and got big plans for the summer. And yeah, good to be with you today, Thomas.
Well, I'll tell you, Bill and I kind of claimed brothers of a different mother. And we just bonded from the very first minute we met around a little radio project that we were doing a long time ago. And when you sent me that text and said, I'm back, basically, you said, I am a different person. You don't know, my eyes just welled with tears, and I was so
Really?
joyful and so
Oh,
happy. Oh,
wow. Thanks.
I
Thanks,
missed you
Thomas.
there. Well, didn't miss you because you weren't that bad. You just had the speech issue.
Yeah,
So,
it was
yeah, I was just like, so with what anybody would do, I'm sure you went to rehab therapy and all of that. So, what was your process?
uh 3 times a week. Then it went down to 2 times a week. I would go and see my wonderful friend Gene at Rehab Visions, the place where I had speech therapy. And yeah, we'd work on speech a lot, but a lot of it was unlocking my brain. You know, they call it speech therapy, but there was still ways that these little puzzles that she'd give me, and things that I had to do work on, like how to balance a checkbook, or little problem solving, memory, little puzzles and things. And I really look forward to going to see her. And she's become a really, really good friend. In fact, tomorrow we're getting together for coffee and going to catch up. And yeah, we're friends on Facebook now, and we take glimpses into each other's lives. And man, she became a really good friend, and so she helped me immensely, and she continues to help me. Continuing, like I said, to make observances. For example, the redundancy of what I do to voice track a radio station. It's the same thing every day, and there's a step-by-step process that you do. You click here, you click there, you talk here, and you fill out the hour of the radio program that you're doing, and back time songs and sing. So it's a step-by-step process. And what I do, and I called her and I said, hey, I think this is helping because I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And there was never really the concerns that I had about going back online and voice tracking these stations really was there was nothing to that. I got back on. It was like riding a bike, and it just got easier every day. Now today, I just made another observance. I still have a little delay in my speech on my end that I can hear and I can tell, and I have to struggle with that. But an observance that I made was when I take my headphones off. and just talk. It's a lot easier than monitoring hearing your voice in real time with the headphones on. So I'm excited to call Jean and tell her about that. And so yeah, it's been a process. It continues to be a process. Meeting a neurologist next week. I have not seen a neurologist yet, so we're going to follow up with a neurologist. But yeah, I'm excited about some plans and some changes that I'm making career-wise going forward.
What would you say you have learned about the brain? Because we talk here about the subconscious mind, which is more of really a spiritual thing, and we'll talk about that too in a minute. But what have you learned about the brain through this process?
Well, for one thing, I have one.
Still,
Still got one.
they don't call you Wild Bill for no reason now.
I learned that your best healing comes from getting plenty of sleep. Your brain
Wow.
heals while you sleep, and I'm working on that. I there's some days where, man, I wake up in the middle of the night and I have trouble getting back to sleep, and it's a tougher day. It's a tougher day when I don't get the proper sleep. And so I'm working on that. So I learned a lot about that. Sleep equates, healing in your brain, and that's one thing. And the brain is amazing. What we talked about last time, when the difference between where you speak and where you sing are two different areas of the brain. That was about the biggest thing I learned. You know, do I enjoy it? Yeah, I guess I kind of do. It's the hand that I'm dealt, so I'm making the most out of it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoy telling people my story, and we're going to expand on telling people my story here going forward. So the brain is a wonderful, wonderful uh, thing to learn about. It really, really is. And I have to say that I have enjoyed this process. Wish I wouldn't have had a stroke, of course. But again, you play the hand that you're dealt and you make the most out of it. And the acquaintances, too, that I've made along the way has been truly wonderful.
When we talked last time, you were very close to the event, really, just a couple of weeks. And you
Yeah.
were, I think, probably very grateful on your knees to God to be alive, for one,
There you
after
go.
you realized what had happened. And I also know that when we have these kinds of shocks to our system like this, that we can go through a plethora of spiritual processing. Sometimes we can shake our fist at God now. It's like, wait a minute, why did I have to go through this kind of thing? What has been your spiritual path over these
I'm
last couple of
close.
months?
I'm closer to God now than I ever have been. That whole thing, we talked about last time, the peace that I had and the no fear. Um, I can tell you this, that we had a series at the church that I attend about, do you trust God? And there were 5 things that they had listed, and they talked about them, one per week, about trusting God. And 2 of the 5 elements of trusting God included not having fear and also the peace. And so I just got chills and goosebumps when they listed them up on the screen at church, and so that really told me something. And it also it reminded me how we are all terminal, and we have to act like we know that, and we have to treat one another as such. And that's a message that I'm crafting right now to go forward. So those are the spirituality wise, why, and some of the stories that I'd shared about things that happened even pre-stroke, about how that all is coming together and making sense now. For example, um, there was a time when we moved my mother's belongings out of her house, and she was real close to a priest who had been in this area from starting in 1945 until the 1980s. My mother interviewed him, and she has 3 90-minute cassettes of his words in her interview in the I believe 1984. I think that's when it took place. Anyway, um, I'm digitizing those, and that involves listening to the tapes in real time, playing the tapes into a computer. So you got to do that in real time. There's no fast way to do that. And so I'm doing that. I'm playing it. It's got all the settings all, lined up, and we're rolling, and each, side of the tape is 45 minutes. So while that's rolling, I'm going through boxes of books that my mom had, and I'm listening to her interview. The priest is talking about when he went to the seminary in Rome in 1935, I believe. Anyway, he said that all his classes and all his instructions were in Latin, and he relied heavily on his Latin English dictionary. While he's saying that, Thomas, I look, and in my hands I'm holding that very dictionary that he was talking about. And today I can tell you that I'm looking at, he's trying to tell me something from beyond. I believe that 100%. That's amazing. So I listened a little more intently as we went on in digitizing those tapes. As we went on, he talked about when he first arrived in 1945, he was he was appalled at all the hatred that were in this community that I live in. Hatred towards him, hatred towards each other, hatred towards God. And he is quoted, to quote him, he says, "I have never seen such hatred in the eyes of a man." And so he said, because of that, for the first year, all his sermons were focused on love.
Hmm.
So that's I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, what does that have to do with a stroke? Well, it's all a process. I mean, I truly believe that he wants me to deliver that message even further in 2025 and beyond. And I read a book recently about the bass player for Guns N' Roses, Duff McKagan. Love those autobiographies like that. He was a heavy drinker. I mean, he drank to himself to a point where his pancreas exploded, and
Oof.
he wanted to die, and he was in such pain, and he begged the doctors to kill him, and somehow they opened him up and they relieved the pressure, and they didn't think he was going to make it, and miraculously he started to heal and got better. And they offered him, programs and rehab to stop drinking. He says, "Make no mistake about it. I don't need that. I am done." And the doctor told him, "Well, Duff, you better figure out why you're here, because there's a reason you're still here, and you better figure that out." And so he went on through life, not drinking. The years went by, still trying to figure out his life. And he met a beautiful lady, and they got married, and they had a baby girl. And in the book, he talks about how when he picked up that baby girl, he felt himself shrouded in light, and he kissed her, and he felt real love for the first time. So the liaison between what that priest said and what Duff is telling me, man, it's love, man. It's all about love.
Who's your friend behind you there now?
That's Bonji. That's Bonji. Yeah, we got to talk about Reba. Okay, the local TV station did a news story on me and Reba. She thinks it's all about her. It changed her. It wrecked her. She's now a diva. She doesn't demand to be petted. It says, "I would like a massage." So she's been on TV. She's got to up her game a little bit. So
Oh
yeah,
my goodness, that's hilarious.
so listen, yeah.
That's
Listen
great.
to him,
Actually,
yeah.
we're talking with my good friend Bill Palanuk, who lives in Western North Dakota and is a radio guy for the last, as long as since teenage years, and he's quite a bit beyond that now, and and kind of an icon in that part of the country. Very popular among the Cowboy Hall of Fame and everything that represents Western North Dakota. And you've talked about now that you would like to think about actually come at it this way, because even before this, I think it was stirring, but then especially since the stroke, you've had something coming up in your heart. I had 15 years ago do a podcast and it just was there. I couldn't get rid of it. Narrate these audiobooks, couldn't get rid of it. What is that thing that's brewing in you that probably you won't be able to get rid of?
Well, first and foremost, that one of the biggest fears that people have is speaking in public and speaking, getting up in front of people and speaking. Somehow, I wasn't born with that gene. It's gone. I don't have any problem getting up in a room full of strangers and sharing a message. And so God, I was trying to remember when we did this. We did a fundraiser several years ago for a lady that who was sending her adopted daughter from Belize to up with people. That's quite a fee. There's about $25,000 is about what that costs. There's about 9 of us, all radio guys from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, got together at this theater, and we did each did 10 minutes of speaking. And so I got up in front of that, and even before that, I knew that was something that I was interested in. Doing a 10-minute speech for that fundraiser really solidified it that I want to become a public speaker. And and I'm doing a lot of deep dives on YouTube on how to, deliver the message the best. And one thing I learned this morning is a lot of your speakers, you go there and they got a book for sale. They promote their Facebook page, their website, all that, their email address. And they suggested, person that I talked to suggested that instead of going there to take, sell a book, go there to give. And I believe that I have a really wonderful message that I have to give to people, and I cannot wait to share that with the world. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that. In fact, I've got a coach now too that's helping me with that.
Well, I know with the legacy that you've built up there in North Dakota over the last decades that you will do amazingly well. And now you have this greatly expanded story to tell, which is so inspiring. Thanks for checking back in with us, for the hard work you've been doing over these last couple of months, the healing that you've received from heaven, pulling it all together. You are here for a reason, my friend, and it will be fun to see what unfolds in front of you.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and I really thank you for the time. I mean, we got so much mileage out of that first podcast that we did, and yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, man, and I really appreciate your interest in my story. Before we wrap, I will tell you this: we're going back into production for the TV show starting in July, and that's a whole another story. So,
Isn't that
but
great?
thank you.
That's
Yes, I
fantastic.
appreciate it.
All
I
right, buddy. I
appreciate you,
love
Tom.
you. We'll stay in touch. You know that.
Yes, we will. Thank you.